All right, now that you've established your landscape renovation budget and you want to keep moving forward, there are typically two different forms of delivery when it comes to residential landscape construction. The first method is what's known as design bid build, sometimes called the traditional method. This is when a homeowner will hire a landscape designer as part of their own contract with the designer. The designer will work back and forth with the homeowner to create the design they want to move forward with, the design they want to install. That design is then sent out to numerous landscape contractors who will then create bids or costs associated with what it will take to complete that design that they've been given. Those numbers go back to the homeowner and designer for review. A landscape contractor is then selected to complete the work, and then the project moves forward into construction. Then the designer stays on oftentimes and can oversee that work. One of the main advantages, in my opinion, of going with the design bid build method or the traditional method is the choice for the homeowner. So you can hire whichever designer fits your project, fits your aesthetic, and then they can help make recommendations for contractors that you work with, contractors that you're going to send that design out to for cost numbers. But at the end of the day, you get to pick that landscape contractor. So you have a lot of choice from beginning to end in the professionals that you use. Another advantage to this method is the independent oversight that the designer can offer. Because the landscape contractor and designer in this method aren't affiliated with each other, the designer can offer independent oversight of the contractor during construction and can be there to act as your advocate and your representative. Some of the disadvantages to working in the design bid build method are that because the landscape designer and landscape contractor are separate entities, the design is created first and completed. Then the landscape contractor installs the design. There's not much input from the landscape contractor until the construction begins. So we'll see in the other method that there's more collaboration between those two parties, and this is kept pretty separate. So sometimes communication issues can arise, especially if it's a designer that has never worked with this landscape contractor. Another disadvantage to working in this method is that costs are more variable than in the other method we'll discuss. So again, because we have the landscape designer operating very separately from the landscape contractor, they don't typically come together in a collaborative process until construction. So because of this, there can be information missing from drawings, the transition between the 2D paper world to the 3D built world. There's always struggles with that. However, they can be a bit more variable in this method compared to the other one. The second common delivery method is called the design build method. And that is when the landscape designer and landscape contractor work as one company. So they have one contract with the homeowner. They work together through the entire process from design through to construction. One of the advantages to working with a design build company is that the project timelines can be faster. Because you've cut out that bid phase, which can take somewhere between 4 to 8 weeks, potentially even more depending on the project, because you don't have that middle phase, the project can move forward quicker. Another advantage to working in this way is because everyone operates as one team and the construction side of the company is involved from the very beginning, the designer and contractor work back and forth to develop details and to develop methods of construction that are more accurate and lead to less questions. Because of this close relationship that the landscape designer and landscape contractor has in the design build method, cost estimates are more accurate, making it easier for a homeowner to budget. Now, that's not to say that the cost at the end of the project will be less with the design build. Typically, between the two methods, design build and design bid build, the overall number at the end of the project is very similar. So you're not necessarily saving money by going through one method or the other. The biggest drawback to working with the design build method, in my opinion, is the lack of choice. Another drawback in the design build method is the potential for lack of creativity. Because you're hiring one company to do everything, if you're looking at a landscape contractor that does really great work but don't love their designs, you will still be working with those designers. You won't have the choice like in the other method where you can choose what designer you want to work with. And lastly, because the design build is one company rather than separate entities like in the design bid build process, you won't have that outside party oversight during the construction process. My business is part of the traditional method. So a homeowner will come to me. I will give them a proposal for the work that they want to do. The proposal is then accepted by the homeowner. We work back and forth to create a design. The design is then sent to landscape contractors, usually ones that I recommend that I've worked with before. Then we get cost estimates back from those landscape contractors. I advise the homeowner on who they should pick for various reasons. And then the landscape contractor is selected and we move into construction. Once we move into construction, I am available to provide oversight during the whole construction process. If you still don't know which one to pick, I would tell you that it's really up to your needs and the needs of your project. If a timeline and a quick turnaround is the most important thing to you, then I would say the design build is the best way to move forward. You can still get great designs, great construction work, and it will be done in a faster timeline than if you use a traditional method. Now, if you want more choice and creativity and the timeline is less of an important factor for you, the design bid build method could be your right pick. Now, if you made that phone call to a landscape contractor that's not part of a design build company, instead of calling your designer first, what will happen is they'll come out to your site, ask you for a design, which may end up triggering that traditional method. So sometimes those landscape contractors will have names of designers that they can recommend, people you can reach out to, but generally they will need something on paper to build from. So if you've kind of gone past the design step straight to the contractor step, the next thing that may happen is that you'll be sort of directed back to the beginning. You can't really move forward without a design. Typically, a landscape contractor is going to need something on paper that they can use to create that cost estimate, give you a number, and then build from. And if you're looking for reasons for why you should hire a landscape architect to help you with your design project, check out the next video.